You must become evangelical about your cause and your mission.
Having a cause will make you feel like a superhero.
Victim sees a job as a job, and a leader sees a job as a cause.
Rise and shine, it's espresso time.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Grab your coffee and sip on today's message from EdMylett.
One thing I want to challenge you to be as a leader of your business, whether it's just you're a leader of one, which is you as a salesperson, or a leader of 10 as a team, or a company of 25,000 employees, is you must become evangelical about your cause and your mission. The greatest business people have an evangelical property about them. They're evangelizing all the time. They're propagating the strengths, the benefits of their business, of their mission, of their cause. One of the great evangelists of all time is Steve Jobs. There's a great book written by a guy named Guy Kawasaki many years ago called Selling the Dream. And in that book, he talks about the way that Steve Jobs sold the dream of Apple, and he literally called him an evangelist for the cause. There's a great story in that book about Steve Jobs when he was recruiting. He knew he needed to have a CEO of his company, and he wanted to have the best. And at that time, there was a man named Scully who was the head of Pepsi, and Jobs was this young kid in his 20s trying to recruit this executive who had made millions of dollars, and he couldn't get him, and he couldn't get him, and he couldn't get him. And finally, he gets the voicemail back in those days, the answering machine actually of Scully, and he says, Listen, man, when you're tired of selling sugar water to kids over there at Pepsi and you want to come change the world, frickin' call me back and we'll do it together. Boom, and he hangs up, right? He was evangelical about the cause. Sugar water and Pepsi changed the world at Apple, right? And Scully, who's making millions of dollars, he's CEO of one of the most powerful companies in the world, looks to his wife and she says, I think he's right. We aren't changing the world. And it was that one cause-oriented evangelical phone call from Steve Jobs, and it exuded out of his pores. Every stage speech he gave, every one-on-one, every board meeting, when he'd meet with their software engineers, when he'd meet with the programmers, he was always evangelical, internally and externally, and built a culture of one of the greatest movements of all time.
Having a cause will make you feel like a superhero. It'll allow you to do things you never thought you'd do and give you the courage you never thought you'd have. All of your heroes had a cause, and if you want to stop selling sugar water and change the world, it's time to find yours. I love the Steve Jobs story. I'm a huge fan of Steve. I have his poster on my wall as one of 5 people that I look up to on a daily basis. But one of the things that I really find most valuable about having a cause is it can allow you to have the courage to be the evangelical person, even if it's not naturally who you are. I look at Steve Jobs and I see someone who is naturally talented, who's a great salesperson, who has the gift of gab, who loves being in the spotlight, who is that person who likes being up front and center. And so it's easy to go off and be that person. Now you combine that with a cause and you get a company like Apple. But having a cause can make you evangelical even if you are introvert and shy and don't like the spotlight. I know because I'm talking about myself. I am an introvert. I don't like talking to people. I don't talk to the person next to me on the airplane. Being in front of the camera makes me nervous. Being in front of a giant audience makes me shy. I'd much rather be at the back of a room than be the center of attention. One of the things I used to fight the most with my agent about was he would say that, Evan, you don't want to be famous. That's a problem. Like, yeah, I don't want to be famous. It's not about me, it's about the cause. And recently it started to sink in that by me becoming more famous, I could spread the message more. But it's one of the biggest things that we kept fighting over because I don't crave the limelight where a lot of people, they absolutely have to have it. But when you have a cause, it forces you to the front. I make videos because I want to help entrepreneurs. I make videos because I struggled so much. Your purpose comes from your pain. I struggled so much in starting my business. I want to make the path a little bit easier for the next generation of people coming through. I'm making videos and content and speeches for the 19-year-old version of myself that needed to hear this stuff. And so I feel it's my responsibility, it's my obligation, I have to do it. And it forces me out into stages that normally I would say, you're crazy. I'm on this tour right now, right? I gave up a quarter of my year, 90 days, to hit 23 cities and do the thing that I'm most afraid to do, which is get up and potentially disappoint people every 4 days by doing another event. And I kept going even though I broke my neck. I broke my neck 3 weeks ago in Denver. And we kept going. I only canceled one event completely. And I just got up and kept going. And so having that cause, feeling like the work that you do is important and meaningful is the whole thing. 95% of America wakes up and drives to the job that they hate. Don't let that be you. 95% of America is selling sugar water that they don't believe in. Don't let that be you. But when you find the thing that you love doing, when you find the cause, when you can connect the work that you're doing on a daily basis to impacting other people, right? Humans are built to serve. We are built to serve either the world or the 25 closest people to us. And when you can connect the work that you're doing on a daily basis to serving and helping others in some capacity, then you're set, then you love it, then you keep going, then you push through. I kept going on this tour because I'm on a cause, I'm on a mission. I have purpose. And even though it may not be my best work, it's better than me not showing up. And so it'll push you through emotional pain. It'll push you through physical pain. It'll push you to give you the courage that you never thought you'd have because you feel a calling to go and help other people. And so humans are built to serve, but we're also afraid of judgment, afraid of failure, afraid of disappointing people. And when you can release that fear because you found the thing that you have to do, it'll give you the courage and strength to move forward and become evangelical about your cause. Now, I've got 3 very important questions that I think you should ask yourself as you're going through this journey of finding out your cause and then living it to become evangelical about it, that if you ask and answer powerfully, I think it change the course of the rest of your life. Question number 1, what would the most courageous version of yourself do? Think about what you think of yourself right now. The kind of skills and the talents and just the identity. I am the kind of person who does this. There's a lot of limiting beliefs in there. And a lot of your growth and the growth of your cause comes from busting through some of these limiting personal beliefs. And so asking that question, what would the most courageous version of you do right now? Not what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, because that requires no courage. That's the opposite of courage. You know you're not gonna fail, you're gonna win, so there's zero courage involved. No, I want you to have courage. What would the most courageous version of you do? And then go do that thing. And it's a great question to constantly ask yourself as you continue to evolve and grow. Question number 2, who do you need to recruit to your cause to make it blow up? So recognize that you can't do everything, right? If you want to go quickly, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go with a team. You have a skill set and interest. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. And the most courageous version of you will go off and do these things. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you don't want to do. And you need to recruit people to your team, even if for free at the beginning, just to get it started. So for me in making videos, I didn't want to be the person behind the camera. I didn't want to have to do all the editing. I didn't want to know the specs and the gear and all that stuff. Even here as we're set up, you know, I've got a light on me here. There's a fill light behind me. I'm mic'd up. We have this camera on me, fancy gear. I don't want to know about all this stuff, but I need people on my team to help me do it. And so the first person that I recruited for my first video was my buddy, Mark Drager. And he came on his off time and he shot my video. It was Walt Disney. It's 10 years old now almost. And it's embarrassing to look at, but it was well done. It was well shot technically by my friend who knew what he was doing, but I needed to recruit those people. And so understanding what do you have Michael Jordan level potential at, and trying to spend as much time as possible doing that thing, and then recruiting other people alongside you, even if for free at the beginning, just to build up your base, because you cannot do everything alone. Your mission, your cause will never come to fruition if you are trying to do everything completely by yourself. And question number 3 is, how can you tell your story in a way that connects with people? This is one of the things that you will need to summon the courage to do. You need to tell your story. You're doing this cause because of a personal story, and your purpose comes from your pain. And so being able to share that painful moment is something that a lot of people have a hard time doing, because they don't want to admit the weakness, they don't want to admit the vulnerability, they don't want to live in the pain. But without knowing your story, without knowing why you're doing what you're doing, people won't connect with you. You just look like another giant corporation, but you're not giant because I don't know who you are. And so if you think about whatever your cause is, your business, what you're up to, if you have a website that you look like giant corporation because you're trying to be professional and corporate, right? You have the same boring headshots and the same boring bio as everybody else. Why would I buy from you? Why would I work with you? I'm gonna work with a big company. They may treat me like a number, but at least I know who they are. They have a reputation. I know they're gonna still be around in business. I know what I'm getting. Why take a chance on you? It's your story. Your story is the X factor. Your story is the reason why somebody wants to work with you versus everybody else. and you're so afraid to share the story. And so you have to get it out there. I would love to see a video. I would love to see you practice and tell the story in a video, and I'm not worried about you being the perfect public speaker or not, but just getting it out, just to share it. But if you don't want to do that yet, then just a written story. Tell me where you came from. Tell me why you do what you do. Tell me why this is so important to you. Tell me where you came from and why this thing has to happen. Because it's your story and your passion that will carry the day. And if I can't connect to you and why you're doing it, I don't connect to your cause. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, question of the day, I want to know your answer to the first question. What would the most courageous version of yourself do? Let me know. Put it in the comments below.
Society right now is defining success by how much you have. But Mahatma Gandhi died with less than 10 possessions. I mean, he had a spinning wheel, he had his eyeglasses, I believe he had a watch and a few other things. Mother Teresa, I was actually in her mission in Kolkata, in India. And I went into her bedroom, and all she had was a very Spartan bed and a desk. And if you look at Martin Luther King Jr., these people all lived very Spartan lives and very sparse lives. Why? Because they really didn't care about accumulating things. They were on a monomaniacal mission to free the population that they were serving. It's not about accumulating things if you really want to be a hero of history. It's about finding some kind of a fiery cause that fuels your passion and that brings on your talent for the benefit of helping out as many people as possible. And in my work, I call that a cause. In my work, I call that a monomaniacal mission. And, you know, you don't have to be a Nelson Mandela or a Mother Teresa to live like this. You can be a school teacher who says, you know what, here's the higher mission I want to dedicate the rest of my career to, and it's educating young people to believe in themselves and to capitalize on their skills so they do great things in their lives and they're of benefit to the world. You could be a baker and understand that, you know what, your cause could be every single person who comes in this bakery, I will leave them better than I found them, because every day is an opportunity to lift another human being and to radiate optimism and to model possibility. You could be a taxi driver. You could be a firefighter. I don't know what you do, but the difference between a victim and a leader is a victim sees a job as a job and a leader sees a job as a cause. And that really is a game-changing insight. If you say, you know what, I might not be leading millions, but I am leading a team at the office, or I am leading my family, or I'm not leading anyone, but I'm a human being and I have the capacity to walk out into the world. And in a world where a lot of people are closed and a lot of people are negative and a lot of people have walls, you can stand for possibility, and you can stand for high energy, and you can stand for hope, and you can stand for love. And that's a really profound responsibility an opportunity you have on your shoulders today.
If you want to know the #1 success killer in the modern world, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
There's a thing in our culture that's killing our culture. It's killing success.